Hi guys, it's John from Bright Wargaming. Just thought I'd record a quick unboxing video for some models for a game called Twisted. So first of all, what is Twisted? It's a skirmish game set in sort of the late 1800s, early 1900s in an alternative steampunk version of London. The faction I've decided to go with are a group called the Dickensians, who are based loosely around characters from Charles Dickens, predominantly sort of Oliver Twist, the Oliver's Twist story. So I think we'll just get straight into it. So box art, pretty cool, all original stuff, all looks pretty smart. What's the bit that really matters, actually, what these gorgeous models look like, at least in the artwork, and once we've got these open, then we'll see how they compare. But so we've got Bill Sykes and his trusty dog Bullseye, Sowerbury, Dodger, and then you've got all these characters called Urkin, who are all sort of malformed, twisted street urchins that have been mucked around with by one of the other characters, but we'll get into that in another video hopefully. Right, cool, so let's open it up. And pop the top. And first of all, we're finding some cards. So these, I think, these are essentially the what should be the rules cards and the what I call activation cards for each of the characters. So let's just get the top couple out. So Bill Sykes, so you get essentially two cards for each character. One is what's called an activation card, which is one of the cool things about this game is got a slightly strange alternating activation thing, where essentially you've got one of these for each of your characters, and you set them in the order that you want to activate your team, and then essentially you then alternate your activations, but in the set order that you've preset. So there's no sort of in round choosing what order you're going to activate. So there's a bit of sort of pre-planning in how you do your activation. So that's what that card's for. Then you got this card, which is essentially your go-to rules and tracking stats and what have you for the character. So all your usual sort of speed, strength. Fin is finesse. Then you've got attack, defense, armor, and alchemancy. So that's their ability to cast spells. And then you've got sort of special abilities, which are all then explained on the other side. So describes his gun, what sort of ammunition he's got. So he's got choice of ammunition. What are his sort of special abilities that he's able to do in game. But hopefully at some point in the future we'll get round to playing around with videoing some in-game stuff, and we'll go through that. Cool, right, so get one of those for each of the models. So I'll put those away, I'm not going to go through those in detail just yet. And then you're on to the models themselves. So you get a little baggie with each model in, and they all look like very, very well cast pewter models, which looks absolutely fab. From first inspection, there seems to be a little bit of flash on there, but nothing that shouldn't be a drama to clean off, and that should all clean off fairly easily. The other thing from having a quick look, and I must admit that I did open the box prior to the video so that I could have a little bit of a look-see, is that all of the models look like they've been hand sculpted, which is a really refreshing change, given the way that Games Workshop and some of the other companies are moving towards much more sort of computer designed, very clinical looking models. These are quite clearly hand sculpted, and they've got that real sort of very cool scruffiness about them because of that, which I think will come through once we've got these together. They'll just look a lot more personalised, I think. But rather than going through each of these bags individually, what I'll quickly do is I'll knock them up and we'll have a look at them once they're built. Brilliant. Catch you in a bit. Just while I'm here, I also wanted to add in a couple of additional models which I got as part of the same package. It's just a couple of additional Erkin that don't seem to occur in any of the box sets. So this is Bedtime and Library, although it was advertised as Bedtime and Books, but I think that's Bedtime because he's got candles, and that's Library or Books because he seems to have shoulder pads made out of books and carries around loads of books on his back. So he's what's called a shooter. He's what's called a slasher, and they're essentially your gang members in game. But yeah, so very similar to the others. Open up and you've got your in-game cards, and then you've got your activation cards, and that's kind of it. So I'm going to put it all together. Cheers. Catch you in a bit. Right, so I finished putting them together. Only one of the models was a bit of a drama, and I'll talk through that when I get to it, but we'll run through the models and just sort of what I see and what I think and all that sort of stuff. So let's start off with Bill Sykes. So here's a stunningly detailed model. Just to give you a quick look. You can see from that smoothing on the top of that, there's a bit of mould line issues up there, and I think there was also a little bit of mould line just on there, but nothing that's not fixable with a little bit of hobbying skill. But yeah, you can see from that, even without any paint on it, you can tell the detail on it. I think there'll probably need to be a little bit of green stuffing on that seam there, just where the leg joins, but nothing that's outside the art of the possible. So these pins that come sort of pre-installed in there, they are just less than 1.5 mil, so maybe 1 mil, but when you look at when we get onto one of the other models, that one's 1.5 mil, so it's worth having a 1 mil and a 1.5 mil drill bit ready for basing them up. Right, so that's Bill Sykes, pretty awesome. Here's Trusty Dog. Let's try and get that up and close, try and get that focus. So he has like a mechanical lower jaw. He's got like a chest piece on, and thankfully he's got a belt which hides that seam a little bit. I'm hoping that will anyway, but that's going to need just a tiny little bit of green stuff in that seam there. What I did to make sure that I get all 4 paws on the ground, I drilled a hole in one of the bases, and just and again this one is 1.5 mil, so just popped the front half into the base and then glued the back half on and just let it set on the base. So that has got the all pores level, but as you can see it needs just a touch of green stuff in there just to fill in that gap. Cool. Right, Sourbrain. Here's the next one. So he's like a sort of ghoulish grave digger. This one was all right. The only minor issue I had was that where it's sort of they're moulded with pins and holes. The hole in the shoulder here had filled in with pewter, so I had to drill that out a little bit and make that all work. But other than that, pretty good. The back of this coat, so the bottom half of the coat comes as a separate piece. You can see there's a little bit of a join there, which might need a tiny bit of green stuff in there, but other than that, he's pretty cool. I think that shaft of the shovel is a little bit bendy, so maybe I'll just be a bit careful with that as we go. But he's a cool model. Probably worth highlighting the back of that clock to see all different cogs and bits and bobs in there. Anyway, cool model. Right, now on to the one which gave me the most pain. This is Dodger. So Dodger comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. The joint at the waist is small. It's a little ball and cup joint. Was very difficult to get that to work. So recommendation for anyone else doing this is pin it. So yeah, there's plenty of material there for you to drill down into the wheel, drill up into the body, and stick a pin in there and be a lot more solid. I may well just break that join and redo that myself. Other than that, trying to figure out how this backpack goes on. So the real clue for me was that appears to be a candle at the top of his bag. So that is roughly upright, and but yeah, it wasn't overly clear how that was going to go onto his back. Also, the scarf doesn't quite join right at the neck, so that's going to need a little bit of green stuff. But other than that, he's a really cool model, really dynamic pose. Oops, nearly dropped him there. Really dynamic pose. But yeah, how I'm going to base him, well, we'll cover that when we get to it. But that's Dodger. He's pretty cool. I'm probably going to base him slightly more forward than that. Right, and onto the Erkin. So we're going to start with the Alchemaster, I think. So the Alchemaster is the Erkin wizard, essentially. You're a wizard, Harry. So he's a really cool model. He's got a little rat on his head. He's got a hand puppet. He's obviously got his weird sort of wicked wand with a cog at the end of it. But he's also got like a Mexican death mask on. He's sort of some sort of voodoo priest sort of aesthetic to him, with long sort of tail coat on, which I think is super cool. So he'll be really, really smart once he's painted up. So then you move on from this guy to when he gets angry, he Incredible Hulks into this boy here. So this is on a 40mm base, so you can get a feel for the scale. You can see his hand puppet's now up on his elbow. He's got, I did see a mouse. Yes, there's a mouse just at the end of his finger there. Lots of really cool little details, but it's the same model, but upscaled and made to look a bit grubby and grotesque and Incredible Hulk. This jacket there, or the bottom half of the jacket, is a separate piece. Obviously that makes sort of casting a bit more simple, but yeah, that was a bit of a bugger to get that shaped to go on right. I still think there's a little bit of gapping there, so I'm going to have to fill all that in. The other one is that this arm, so his left arm, didn't go in quite as well as the right arm. You see again there's a little bit of gapping on the right hand side, on the back there, which I'm going to have to fill in. But other than that, this is a absolutely stupendous model. That is a lot of weight of pewter there, so that's going to be really, really cool. Right, now we've got the 3 Erkin that came in the box set. So in that there are 2 shooters and 1 slasher. So we'll do with first shooter first. So that is Blunder, named so because she has a little blunderbuss, but she's a cute little girl with her teddy bear wearing a nightdress or a frock or something, a bow on her head. But yeah, I think there's lots of ability to make this look pretty grimdark and a bit twisted. So I'm really looking forward to getting this up. And in all honesty, it was the Urkin that really drew me not only to the Dickensians but to the game in general, just because I love the aesthetic of these models. Cool. On to the next one, who is, let's get this is Scope, who is another one of the shooters. He's got a torch on his head, really cool little wire going down his back to a battery which is underneath his cape. This guy was two pieces, really easy to put together. He's just add the arms to the body, and a little bit of sort of scenery detail that he's propped up on. And this one is Torch. So he's cheeky little chappy. I think he's got I think that's a teddy bear with a top hat on his shoulder, which is pretty cool. He's got a Molotov cocktail in his hand, ready to throw it, and I think he's reaching behind his back for his knife, which is stowed down the back. So that's pretty cool. I think he's going to look pretty ace when he's painted up as well. So I'm just noticing now. There's just, you can see that. Oh, let's get that to focus. A little bit of a mould line down that leg. May just clean that up a little bit. Yeah, you can see it all the way down his side now. It's coming all the way down from his elbow down the side. That's just a little bit of easy clean up, just a bit of a scraper. So that shouldn't be too bad. Right, so that's the box set. That's what they all look like. Now, the two extra guys that I got, who are Bedtime and Library or Books. So let's look at Bedtime first. So why is he called Bedtime? Because he's wearing his pyjamas, as far as I can tell. So he's got like an old-fashioned sort of night hat on. He's got his carrying his candles around. Nice little bit of scenery on the base. That's going to make it really nice because I'm going for scenic bases. I'm going to take the bar out. I'm going to pin that. So that's a good bit of. So I'm going to drill up into to pin it onto the scenic base. Other than that, you see he's got his teddy bear at his waist, ready for bed. But yeah, he's a slasher, so he's got an axe. He's got a knife a couple of knives in behind him. Loads of really cool detail on that. And last but not least, Books or Library. He's all a bit sort of squiffy-eyed, but again, lots of nice little detail on there. A little feather in his cap, a rackety old gun, all the books for shoulder pads. He's carrying a big stack of books. Likes his reading clearly. That's him there. He's a cute little model, really cool. Loving all the tiny little details, like you can see on his shoe there, where he's worn through his shoe. You can see his toes poking through. And for a really small metal model, there's a really pleasing level of detail on there. Again, just seeing a tiny little bit of clean up that still needs to be done on the bottom of that, but that's all fine. Cool. Well, so that's that. What's the plan now? The plan now is I'm going to look to. I'm not the fastest painter in the world, so hopefully I'll get 1 or 2 models painted per week from now onwards. And what I'll do is I'll just capture some photos of each of those as I go along. I'll put up a little sort of montage type video. It's what I'm planning to do, so you can see how I'm getting along. In terms of where you can get these in the UK, there seems to be 2 primary suppliers, one being the Outpost, which is where I got all mine from, but I believe there's also WAMP, who I've not used before, but supposedly they provide it as well. But I'll put links to both websites in the comments, and we'll see how we go. So this is my first video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope that this gives you a better idea of what's going on in the world of Twisted, and if you feel like giving it a go, please do. I personally can't wait to play it. All the rules are available online on the Demented Games website. They've got a link to the rules, counters, standees, etc. So if you want to give it a go without sort of investing in a kit, go for it. Yeah, let me know how you get on. Bro. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.